I am Susan Coetzee-Van Rooy, and currently I'm lucky to have two jobs. I'm the current director of Stichting Het Zuid-Afrikahuis. We have a board, and I'm the director with the colleagues in the house on the Keizersgracht. And this house has been in the Stichting for 100 years. And my other job is that of research professor at Northwest University. I'm in the broad field of linguistics, but my specialization is in multilingualism, specifically multilingualism among students in South Africa, which I find to be quite diverse. And you ask about how do I identify. I'm an Afrikaans, English, South African. That's who I am. My Sesotho is not very strong. I'm ashamed of that, trying to improve it. I know a bit of French, a bit of German. So I'm a multilingual myself. Dutch is the sixth language that I've tried to learn. Really struggling with it because it's too close to Afrikaans. So that's who I am. Frequency of Freedom has been one of the most delightful experiences of my life. I'm extremely proud to be associated with the project. If I look at it from the perspective of Zuid-Afrikahuis, our current strategic vision is to broaden the mission and the vision of the house. So this is a Dutch house for people who have a heart for South Africa. And in the past it meant literally people who had family, neefjes and nichtjes in South Africa. But today that has changed. That generation is passing, and we are trying to forge new relationships between South Africa, the Flemish-speaking part, and the Dutch-speaking part. And that meant we had to look at new target groups. And the main one is to try, or the main idea I think, is to continue with the exchange of ideas, cultural exchange between South Africa, Flemish-speaking places in Europe and Dutch-speaking places, but to slowly and increasingly bring the complete new South Africa into the house. So that's where we were going. And Frequency of Freedom, in my mind, was the perfect starting place. How much closer can you get if you want to exchange? If you think linguistically, Kaaps, Afrikaans, Dutch, Flemish. So the whole project was, if it was tailor-made for the point in time in terms of the strategic vision of Zuid-Afrikahuis now. Any decolonial project, or I saw here in the house how decolonial projects can be tackled from a variety of perspectives. There's a strong historian and history perspective from the house, and that has certain strategies and methods and ways. As a linguist, obviously, I'm drawn to how do we understand each other? How do we make ourselves understandable to one another? And with even the best interests at heart, miscommunication will still happen. We know that. So to me, working through Kaaps, through Afrikaans, through different other forms of Afrikaans was the natural starting point. The fact, I mean, to the audiences who will listen to this, imagine a choir festival, a Klopse festival, and there are sections called Hollandse liedjes. I mean, that's a mind-boggling idea, sitting in Europe and trying to understand that somewhere out there, in a space where we, and I'm now identifying with the Dutch, where we, the Dutch people, walked, we left a piece of our culture, which we then forgot when we came home, but somebody else took care of it for us and is bringing it back to us now. That's a very different approach, I think, to decolonialism. And your thinking that went into the Frequency of Freedom project behind that idea attracted me. It's not an acrimonious conversation. It's not a difficult conversation. There is difficulty in it, but there are elements that are shared. And that, I think, made all the difference. My hope for this house is that, number one, it fits into a network of spaces and places that serve South Africans wherever they are, especially here in the Netherlands. I hope that this house becomes more and more of service to Dutch people today who also love South Africa, and to South Africans who currently live and work in the Netherlands. Not all of them are emigrating. They're literally working as global workers. I'm also not emigrating. I'm returning to South Africa at some point. And I think this house can be a home away from home for those South Africans. And it could be a gateway through the Netherlands into South Africa for Europeans. We had a short time in which to document your vision into an application. So there was a lot of pressure to understand complex ideas that you've been playing with for a very long time. And as the director and a potential Dutch partner, I had to really cognitively buckle up and make sure that I try and understand as much as I can about the vision. Because to you it came naturally. You've been embedded in this for your whole life. But there was a moment when I realized that the point in the strategic plan for Het Zuid-Afrikahuis is colliding now with your lifelong dream of doing Frequency of Freedom or projects similar to this. And when I realized that there's this connection between what we need as the house and what you are bringing as an expert, I saw the potential. I just saw the potential. But then the middle phase of an answer, but now this must still become true or become reality. So I never worried about that. It was the strangest feeling. I just knew we will create it. Between you, Lauren, the team, it will happen. And yeah, maybe I'm a brave person, but I never thought of it as a risk. I thought of it as exactly the right thing to be busy with now. So were my expectations met? Far exceeded, because I had to try and from a very intellectual application, which I believed in, which I knew would make sense in the strategic point in time for my house, I had to try and envisage something that was much more beautiful. So the impact of, I don't know if you really understand how clever you designed the whole program. The narrative inquiry, no, the narrative seminar that you do, how you've built in the intellectual elements that we need as theoretical frames when we think about colonization, decolonization, and the practice of people who have done this and who have carried this tradition for so long, to really mesh those two things, the intellectual part and the practical part, to tell the story of an approach to decolonization. I couldn't have dreamed it up any better.